Hey everyone, my name is Andrew, and today I have the honor of interviewing Jeremy. Jeremy and I connected real quick on a phone call um, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and my partner and I. So I'm a part owner of an epoxy company. I also have a marketing company, but Jeremy is the guy that we've looked up to as far as what he's doing with metallics. Just seems like a really quality guy. So I reached out to him and really just started asking him questions. And I felt like, oh, well, let's do an interview with Jeremy. And this could be super valuable and helpful for any installers out there, either just starting or maybe you're seasoned and you're down the road already. But I just feel like Jeremy has a lot of wisdom. And so, Jeremy, thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Andrew. First of all, thank you for having me, inviting me, and all your kind words. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, welcome. It's an honor to have you. Um, yeah, so let's just hop right into it. I know you're driving to Kentucky right now. Also, happy birthday a couple days ago.
That's right. 23, 24, somewhere in there. I keep forgetting. Yeah, times two.
Awesome.
49, 49, born 1974, man.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, proud to grow up in the 80s and 90s.
You got a few years. You got a few years on me. So
Yeah, I do. A few years on a few people. All the guys that work for me, it's funny, they're all like 21, 22, and 23. Which is just kind of strange. Like all four guys that work for me are all young guys, which is great. I mean, I was looking for those guys for years, you know. You just
yeah.
gotta be careful, man. You gotta, they're full, they're ready to go. They only know one speed, and it's like, you know, too many bulls in a china shop. It's not good, you know. You really don't need any, but
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, man, appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. So really, the first question I want to ask you real quick is just tell me a little bit about your story, like who you are, uh, where you're from, family, anything you want to say on that.
Okay. Well, born and raised in Houston, Texas. I came up to Dallas 2004, really as a fresh to have a fresh start in life. I've hit a few bumps in the road. If anybody knows my story, I am a recovered alcoholic and drug addict, and I also am a believer in God through the Lord Jesus Christ. So I'm a Christian, and so that's a little bit about my my story there. I'm married and have three kids. We've got one that has left home. She's 22. We have a 16-year-old at home who did not want to go to school this morning. And I have a 10-year-old son who's doing a little bit better than her in that department right now. Um, me and my wife met in 2008. She came to work for me at FloorRescue in 2009. And we've recently started another business together that's in the distribution side and product sales and training with advanced resins. And felt a real strong call to coaching, training, and mentoring last year. And I guess I call myself now a veteran in the industry. I started in 2005. I got into the industry staining concrete in 2004. So I'll be celebrating 20 years next month. And yeah, I mean that's kind of all of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. 20 years. That's a long time. Congrats. It's awesome. I know you've had some ups
Yeah.
and downs probably, but
Ah,
just to get
oh
to this,
yeah.
just to get to this point, that's pretty incredible. So, uh, why
Yeah.
why did you get started in concrete or decorative concrete?
Well, in all honesty, like I've always loved to work with my hands, and I'm just kind of wired, for a challenge mentally. I get kind of bored with stuff if it's not really kind of hitting on all those things like creativity, mentally challenging, maybe the physical side of this job. I enjoy at times. I don't enjoy when it's 105 outside like it is now, uh, but you know, back then, I think I was 29 when I got in the industry. Wait, no. I'm sorry. I was 33. And Or is that right? Oh my God, I can't even think right now. No, I was 29. That's right. No, I was 29. And I was a former wireman for a pretty good company and built motor control centers and I was hitting a dead end with trying to get back into that industry. Like I said, I've had struggles in the past with addiction, and so that got me in trouble. It got me incarcerated. And so I have some felonies in my background, to be transparent about that. And so I was hitting a brick wall when it came to employment, and so I found my playing field a lot more limited. And so at the time, a good friend and pastor, friend of a friend, their parents needed a helper. They lost their helper, and they were one of the top stained concrete applicators in Dallas since the mid '90s. And they were really good. And at that time, stained concrete was very popular, obviously very lucrative. I mean, out of all the installs we do, stained concrete has the greatest profit margins. So I mean, you could really, a buffer, a vacuum, and a garden sprayer, and you're golden. Back then, you're doing paste wax and floor finishes, and obviously we don't do a lot of those sealers, or I don't even hardly do acrylics anymore. I try not to because a lot of them just don't hold up. But that's how I got into the industry. They gave me an opportunity. They gave me a chance. I fell in love with it. I love creating stuff, and the fact that you can create works of art and really cool stuff. You can transform concrete through polishing, the whole staining concrete thing. You get to create some pretty cool looking floors with that, and you implement scoring into it. Obviously, you get into the overlays and epoxies and metallics, and you can just go any direction with this thing. So what's really cool is I've got a floor coming up that I'm not just saying this. I think it's going to be the best, most creative install I've ever done to date. And maybe we can hit on it a little bit more. I'm going to do some custom scoring in a metallic epoxy floor to do a glow in the dark spider web. And it's going to be a combination of some different resins. I'm going to be using some epoxy resins with some polyaspartic resins. I'm going to be using metallics with glow in the darks with black lights. I'm going to incorporate scoring with multi layers of, it's a lot of inlays. Like, it's going to be a very elaborate process. It's going to be 3 separate trips to do this floor, a week on, week off, week on, week off, to allow things to cure, go back and do the next step. So I'm really excited about that. I believe I'm starting that next week. Anyway, but that's how I got into the field, and I fell in love with it. I hate the smell of sealers, and I hate my hands being dried out from stains and sealers and concrete dust and slurry. I hate it, but I love the industry, and I love what we get to create so much that if I don't wear gloves that day, well, I just pay the price. So
Yeah.
that's kind of it, man. So I fell in love with the industry back then. I saw that I was given an opportunity as an ex-felon, okay, to start my own company. I was encouraged by some people to do that, and I didn't really know I was an entrepreneur. I never really tapped into that before. I'd always struggled with a lot of confidence and a lot of pursuing some of my own paths. I've always kind of struggled with that as a young person growing up, and just kind of struggling with confidence and some of my own personal insecurities and stuff with that. And so this industry has given me that. It's given me a lot of opportunity. It's given me so many incentives, and it's given me outlets for the creative part of a way a lot of us are wired. Some of us real high energy, high level, high performers. It's given us another outlet physically, mentally to I guess exercise some of those gifts and talents and the way we're kind of wired.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I
So,
mean, you're really pushing the limits. And so I think as an entrepreneur too, and like creative, and being able to create like amazing pieces of art, like it's kind of limitless, and you can really tap into something that nobody's tapped into before. So it's, yeah, that's amazing. Um,
it is rewarding. I'm inspired by a lot of the guys in the industry, man. And I tell you, to be honest with you, man, like I think left up to our own devices, we'll kind of only push ourselves so far. And it's real easy once you kind of start getting successful in this deal to kind of get complacent, and there's nothing wrong with like building a successful business, making a lot of money, developing a model that works. Like there's a lot of guys in the industry that are a lot more smarter than me when it comes to business. I'm sometimes in my own way because I like kind of pushing limits and pushing, you know, pushing things in my own way, which isn't probably the best business model because at any given time, I may have a stained concrete job going, a metallic job going, a polished job going. I may be doing moisture mitigation over here, self-leaven over there. And that is a lot to try and manage when you have different guys underneath you doing that because we're all at different levels in this thing. And really, I think the more hands you have in everything, there's not enough time in a day to become really, really good at all of them. It takes so much time. So I would encourage people to try to stick with one, two, or three systems, really get those down before you really start jumping out there too much. Because
yeah,
it could hinder you more than it helps you.
yeah, that's great advice. Actually, speaking on
Yeah.
advice, what would you tell yourself 20 years ago that you know now? What kind of advice would you give yourself starting out?
Oh, geez. Well, for one, I think I would tell my younger self to not be so hard on yourself. Um, on a personal level, that's something I've struggled with is being expecting like there's one thing to expect a lot from yourself. It's another thing to condemn yourself for your struggles or maybe where you might be failing. So I think it's good to be challenged, but it's also good to be, I don't know, maybe, I mean, maybe not take everything so serious, not take so much so serious, kind of a little bit, maybe be a little bit more lighthearted about your mistakes and maybe laugh at yourself a little bit more. But in business, I would also tell myself to not be so anxious about everything. Um, and there can be a lot of worry in construction. Everybody's always in a hurry and worrying about money and timelines. We're so reliant on so many other things to be lining up for things to go smooth, and it produces a lot of stress and there's a lot of uncontrollable things that happen. And I would definitely focus more on, like, for example, this next floor that I'm doing with the glow in the dark. I'm doing what I want to do. Like, I could do something for that floor and it not be, um, maybe not go all in, go over the top and still make good money, you know? And a lot of the way my mind always thinks is not to necessarily cut corners to make money, but how to do something as efficiently as possible so I can make the most money. And so um, I'm starting to see that, like, yeah, you do want to be efficient, obviously, with your time, with your processes, with your systems, but um, remember why you got in this in the first place. So maybe it was about making money. Maybe that was someone's main motivation, and that's fine. I mean, I'm money motivated too. I get it, but it's also being able to do something that is unique, um, uh, something that is creative and unique that might require more of you to give to show that to do that. And so I'm trying to do more of that these days, Laura. I don't want to shortcut myself because of time and money. I still want to do something creative and one off. I want to tap into that side of myself and push the limits there because there's a lot of guys that are doing that industry that I look up to and admire, or I just admire them. I love that they push those limits within themselves because you never regret that. If you create a really cool piece of art or work that you've done, like, and people really enjoy that, even if you didn't make a bunch of money on it, like there's something very rewarding in that. And I wish I'd have done more in that in my early days when I was, it's a little bit more difficult as a 49-year-old. I'm actually getting back on my workout regimen, trying to get back in shape, but I'm telling you, it's a lot harder when you get a little bit older. So I'll just say it like that.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I love what you say about the why. I mean, that's for me in business too. It's one thing I go back at. I assess like every once in a while, like why am I doing this? Like there's times where it can be difficult. Um, but in those times of difficulty, I think having that why of what why you got into it in the first place is a big deal. Having that anchor.
Mhm.
So that's yeah, I love that. Um, you've mentioned I think a couple times now, but of some people that you are inspired by in the industry.
Mhm.
Uh, who are
Sure.
maybe a couple of those and why?
Well, on a local level, Bob Lucius, he's not online very much, but just a well-rounded, very educated, was always super supportive of me, and we're still supportive of each other to this day. We don't talk as much as we used to because we're both so busy, but we spoke the other day. But he became a really good friend, and we helped each other on projects, and we've always just bounced off things off of each other when troubleshooting floors or troubleshooting you know challenges we might be having at any given time, or how to bid, or how to approach this, or even when maybe there was a conflict when we're bidding on the same project. Like we had that happen several times. He even uh, won a job that was for one of my builders that someone else had approached him about. My builder didn't go to him, but someone else did. And, I had to work through that because I was a little upset. Like, hey, man, that's my builder. Like, but that's how it goes sometimes. But I really looked up to him because he had so much knowledge, and early on we didn't have the resources we have now. Now you can throw something on a Facebook group, and dude, if you're not paying attention, you're dumb. Like you're learning from these guys that have been, like, I mean, you can't go to school to learn this stuff, you know? And you could learn so much about different systems, approaches, products from some of these guys who are, successful in the industry in their areas and doing different parts of our industry. Because our industry it's a very unique industry because, there's a lot of guys that do mostly industrial, some that do all commercial work, some that do a little bit of which is kind of me. I've done a little bit of everything. Remodels, residential, commercial, industrial, the whole bit. Um, but on the national scale, I guess obviously, Bob Harris was a big name, still is, and it's pretty cool. I had the privilege of speaking with him for the first time, like, I don't know, maybe a week ago. Actually, I reached out to him a few times. He's responded to me, and I had never had the privilege of meeting him, but I watched all his stuff and looked at everything he was doing since I began. Him and a lady by the name of Shelly Rigsby. She was real big with standing concrete back then, and so I really learned a lot from them about technique and just learning the fundamentals. Like the core principles and standards of our industry. I think you really got to understand what processes and chemicals and why you do things a certain way. You really got to learn concrete too. Not all, not all concrete is the same. If you've been doing this for a little bit, you figure that out. But especially start doing remodels, and you can do new construction, and the engineer will spec something that's not industry standard, for stained concrete. And I've seen more new construction stained concrete look bad than some remodels I've done,
Wow.
and it's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be, have control. But when there's, ignorance in the industry, these kinds of things happen. Or when you're relying on, like, the concrete guys or the engineers or architects or whoever's specing whatever. So stepping into there in time could help. But sometimes it's taken away from you. You don't know it but yeah, I would say Bob Harris, Bob Lucius, and then today, like Tim Say, Decorative Concrete of Virginia, he inspired me a whole lot when I got back online in 2019. In 2020, COVID hit. I met him, and he inspired me a lot with social media and creating content. And so him and I were sponsored by Column Mix. Give them a little plug. You know, they make some awesome stuff out of Germany. Um, and I learned a ton from him, and he was a great support and still is a good friend today. Those are probably the top three guys. That's the race too. I don't even think she's still in the industry.
Sorry, you broke up just a little bit. What was that last name?
Oh, I said I had mentioned Shelly Rigsby. She was. I don't think she's still in the industry though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Bob
Awesome.
Harris, Tim Stay. I mean, I could mention some more guys that are online doing a lot of stuff. I mean, you know, Isaiah Pride comes to mind because of just his hustle, his work ethic, his hunger and determination. I really love, and I get a lot of. He feeds my fuel a little bit. Doesn't even know it. You know, we've spoken a few times. We met at the World of Concrete. You know, he has a brand, Wicked Colors, and you know, works with Stephen Moore with Epoxy Depot, and you know, seeing them guys and what they're doing. I like, you know, and there's some other people too, man. I could keep going, but I'll just stop there
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And hopefully this
Yeah.
encourages those guys if they watch this. So that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Another question here. So you mentioned like social media, some
Yep.
content marketing. What are some ways that is that mainly how you market yourself, or how do you kind of advertise yourself?
Well, so when I started, you know, I had a very low budget. I had to talk myself into spending $24.99 on a web.com website monthly. That's how bad it was. That's what the struggle was like for me. $25. I mean, literally, I had to wrestle over that for several days. And I remember when I got my first job, it was a brand new VCT install. And they wanted me to come in and scrub it, strip it, and put some new wax on it. And it was a couple hours away. And I remember driving out there doing that job. I think I made $450. It took me like 3-4 hours. I stopped on the way back, did some fishing at Lake Levon, which I actually live near there now. And I just remember that feeling, man. That was like, wow, man, my website actually performed. Because back then, you know, I did all my own editing, I did all that. I mean, I still do a lot of that, but yeah, I mean, there's the basics. Get a website. You know, there's no reason for you not to have one. Back then, I was knocking doors and passing out business cards. I was faxing people. Era. Um, and I was cold calling people. But after all the years of me doing that and doing work for people in Dallas, I got a ton of referrals all over Dallas. I get referred by people, by other. I got such a network of referrals that I don't even know who they are or where they come from. And so that's been a very cool thing that, so always do your best to go back and make things right. When it comes to doing work for people, if you mess up or when you mess up, do everything in your absolute power to make it right to your own hurt. Be willing to do the next right thing. I can't stress that enough. In the industry, we need, it gives value to our trade. It gives value to your name, and people will refer people who walk in integrity, and I'm not perfect, I mean, far from it, but I've always been willing to do what I can to try to make things right with people. And that's how you build a good reputation. Of course, you want to learn from your mistakes too, so you don't repeat them. And even though some of us will, and I know I have, but to market yourself well, I think social media is a key today. Now, I do get jobs off of my Instagram, off of Facebook. I've gotten jobs off of Pinterest, off of LinkedIn. So don't minimize the effectiveness of that reach, because you all each generation starts operating in their life, how they look for services, how they look for people of, reputable in their trade, or how they look for a professional. They're going to look online. They're going to look They're going to look online, and a lot of them are going to find you through social media. So we're going to be ramping up what we do on social media. Not necessarily like more of it, but what I want to do more than anything is try to maximize the use of it by producing quality content that not only reaches the end client to find us, but if I can do that to help other people who are like me, maybe starting out or whatever, man, just as a resource, man, you know, to help other guys in the industry, man. There's a lot of the guys that are a lot better than me, further along, that I could learn and glean a lot from. But if I don't have access to them or I don't have a relationship with them, I'll never gain that value from them. So I think that there's something key to giving what you've learned. Not everybody will agree with me with this, you know, but I think that I think us guys who've been in this a long time should maybe look at that a little bit differently today, so that what we leave for the next generation of installers or the other guys who are coming up right now, we need to give away what we've learned. There's ways to do that where maybe you're not hurting yourself, so to speak, or creating competition for yourself, because there's enough work to go around.
Mhm.
There really is.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. That's that abundance mindset, you know, and the more people you help, the more connections you make. Obviously, those connections and referral network have just yielded so much results for you, which is amazing. So
they have. I mean, there's a lot of guys they've come to me and just go like, man, I just want to shout at you, man. I'm like, cool, man, come on, let's do a job together. You know, we worked through some stuff, some problems, and you know, some of those guys, you know, hopefully I helped them more than they helped me. You know, if not, man, I gained a lot from a lot of different guys that have worked with me. I've worked with. You know, I subcontract to some of these guys, you know, because I mean, I get so much work, you know, and a lot of these guys, I think, hopefully are doing better as a result of that today. And, you know, I would like to keep those relationships close, though, to be honest. I'd like for us to continue to help each other and grow together and add value to each other's businesses together. But sometimes those things work out like that. Sometimes they don't, you know. Yeah. But the idea is I want to try to do my best to, you know, make it where we mutually benefit. You know what I mean? There's got to be a mutual benefit there, you know, on some level. Yeah. Both people's got to be happy. Both parties got to be happy, I think. And if you're happy just helping somebody and that's all you want, then hey, man, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But right now that we're trying to grow a coaching program through Advanced Resins and all that, like we can't go around and do because it costs you time and money to get out there and do the training, you know. And so the idea is to be able to monetize that so that it can keep the movement going forward. You know, and keep the movement going forward. We bring value to new people, and you know, and then it keeps the movement growing so that we can continue to do, you know, what I believe we're called to do in our industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and towards the end of this our time together, I want you to ask a question as far as like what are you guys doing to bring value? As I want to say that towards the end, like what but you mentioned relationships, networking, and obviously one key essential for the coating industry, decorative concrete, is relationships with manufacturers, products, things like that. Other sales reps. What advice would you give as far as just somebody that's maybe in between looking for maybe different products or equipment, or maybe they're just starting and they're looking like, what type of equipment should I get? What do you have to say about that?
Part of me wants to say I might not be the right person to ask because some of my if I gave some of my true opinions, I would step on some toes. Let me be honest. But for the sake of, I don't want to disrespect or dishonor anyone on here, no manufacturer, no installer. There's a lot of great companies out there. There's a lot of great people that work at these companies. There's a lot of great reps. My biggest struggle personally as an installer, you know, you want to feel valued by the people that you're bringing business. I want to say that. Okay. And I feel like there's a disconnect in most industries between the manufacturer of a product and the installer. And I feel like there's a big disconnect in our industry. Now, I believe a distributor is supposed to kind of bridge that gap. I think that's kind of their role. They're the mediator, right? They're the store. They're selling materials. They're selling products. They're making money off of those sales. They're doing trainings for very affordable. They're giving them free lunch. They're doing free demos. Product reps are coming in and look at my map. Make sure I'm staying on point here. Yeah, we're good. 26 miles to Memphis. So there's a lot of different. I mean, let's just be honest. Like everybody, let's be honest. Everybody has their own agenda. As an installer, I have my agenda, right? I want to win business. I want to make money. I want to do high quality work. I want more referrals. I want people to be wowed. I want to be successful, and I want repeat business, right? I want to grow a successful company. I want to gain respect. I want to all these things. For other people selling materials, whether they're distributors, manufacturers, everybody's in business to make money. They're in business to turn a profit. I believe most businesses start off with a desire to produce something of quality and uniqueness, and they will make it available on the market, for us to put down and showcase and show off. And so people can utilize it, use it, and that product it becomes useful in our, whatever, our society, our culture, whatever it is. So, but when it comes to relationships with guys getting in the industry, already in the industry, man, I think we all gravitate toward people we like and trust. And I think that looks different for different people. I think there's good reps that work for some of these big companies that not everybody necessarily wants to buy products from, because they know that, they've got a huge piece of the market and a huge control in the market. And you'll get a lot of opinions all over the place from a lot of guys in our industry. Honestly, value those opinions. I value every single one of them, because I know when it comes down to it, despite how big a company, how much money, it doesn't even matter. Like at the very ground level, without an installer, those companies mean nothing, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And that doesn't mean that the installer is more important. Not at all. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he has a lot of value. And I believe that installers need to be valued. The companies that install, the companies that are building communities, they're building new people in the industry, they're employing people, they're trying to build franchises, networks, whatever. I feel like they need to be valued. And so I don't know. There's a lot of pieces to that puzzle, and to be honest with you, man, what all the money looks like and all that has a big part to play in it, man. I mean, it sways our minds and our ideas and our affections, bro. It does. The money, unfortunately, plays a big part in it. And as I continue in this industry, my hope and our goal, our aim, and our purpose is to not ever put the money above the needs of our clients, our installers. Money has a huge part to play in it, though, man. It really does, unfortunately. And so it's always going to be a struggle. It's going to be a challenge, but I think most people choose their reps or their products on convenience, which is, again, about saving time and money. And it's about relationship. They feel comfortable and confident with their rep or the people that they're talking to. So I think it's a combination of two, and they obviously have to like the product and like what it does for them. If it's not performing well for them, or it's hard to use, or they're having struggles with it, or they're not getting the support and the solutions in place quick enough, they're gonna abandon that product in that company and go somewhere else. Rightfully so, and they should. And so I don't know if I answered your question, man. I went down some rabbit trails
No,
on
that's
that.
fine. That's fine. I mean, again,
It's the
you're
huge topic, dude. Like it really is, man. It's a deep one, man. There's a lot that goes. There really is, man, because it's not about just the product, bro. It's about it's about the performance. It's about the convenience of the install, the convenience of getting the material, the performance of that product, how it's sold. Because some people are out there selling high dollar systems. Some people are selling more cheaper systems. They're going to use more, you know what I mean? Like it's those margins. It's the mindset of the installer. It's the mindset of the manufacturers and how those two come together and make a deal, you know, and higher priced products and higher quality materials are always going to be, they're not going to be for the guy who's looking for the cheapest product on the shelf, you know, the cheapest way to do something, you know, and I'll tell you that right now, I've never been that guy. In my installations, I've never made it about money. I would rather lose a little bit of money and put down a more superior product because I knew at the end of the day, if my client got a better product, that's going to be better for me long term and them. And that's a win-win. You know, that gives me peace of mind. And so trying to marry the two where you can sell quality, give quality, and still make money is the goal. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, and there, yeah, and
That's the goal.
yeah, it's a skill set, you know, and also like, you know, that but like you mentioned, they're doing like high quality floors, even though like sometimes you may have didn't turn a profit. Like again, like you're thinking long term, like you're thinking like I want to be in business for years to come, and
Mhm.
you know that again, that's where that referral network comes from. That's where
Yep.
like even these relationships too, like you know other manufacturers and just people in the industry, it really goes a long
Yeah.
way, and you're a testament to that. So um,
Yeah.
one last question I want really wanted to ask you, and then really just whatever you kind of want to say. But I know that obviously, and you've kind of alluded to this already, is you're big about helping the next generation of installers. Um, what are you? What's kind of your plan as far as bringing value? I mean, obviously you have like trainings going on, but what's your plan to help bring value to the industry moving forward?
You know, I have some conflicts. I have some conflicts of interest with it, you know, because the truth of the matter is that I feel like if in 5 years or 10 years from now, if there was a better network of installers and guys who were, you know, I mean, obviously everybody wants to find success, you know, that looks, you know, a lot of different ways. That's about process and learning and becoming skilled in this trade, which takes time. You have to invest in that. But I mean, obviously that is a testament of uh, making a difference. If there are more successful installs as a result of your efforts, like, because I really think at the end of the day, like that's probably one of the biggest ones because there's so many failures in our industry. And sometimes it happens by accident, you know, sometimes it's little, you know, little stuff that we all do wrong. But if training, if training and support and product development, and so I want to go back to the training thing. Um, um,
Yeah,
training needs to
yeah.
be
The
more
floor
than
is yours.
just
Go for it.
okay. The training needs to be more than just a one-time event, whether that be 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, or if you go to like a man, I probably shouldn't say, I'm gonna say Bob Harris. Like I've never been to his training, but if I was to go to one, I would have liked to gone to his, you know, because I know that that man is going to dive deep into everything you need to know to have the real knowledge about what's going on in that process that he's showing you. And he's going to teach you things that you need to know that have to do with how something performs and how something goes down, what could potentially cause its failure, so on and so forth. And there's more than meets the eye in our industry, you know, right? You're dealing with concrete, you're dealing with the earth underneath, you're dealing with the environment around it, whether that be, you know, the, weather or that being the environment of the facility, whatever, indoor, outdoor, all that whole deal. And so, plus the material performance, the climates, the humidities, like all that kind of stuff. But I think the training and the support in our industry, there are some companies that I think are doing a fabulous job. And the only way you get that is you have to go to them and you have to join their community, and then you become a certified installer of their systems, right? And they have their part in the market. Not anyone can come in and install their systems, and they're selling their systems to certain people within the commercial world, or it's not something you can just easily get into when you're first starting out, because we all come in this thing differently. I came in standing concrete, right? I didn't come in going to a Duraflex or a Stonehard training, right? Or some of these bigger companies that have been around for a very long time. And part of me wishes I would have. Part of me wishes I'd have had that experience. Seeing how those companies operate with such integrity and such skillful knowledge and skillful approach, which I think is really, really key. And so I think a lot of us are trapped in now that we've gotten into distribution with advanced resins, working with chemists to formulate products that perform well. And we want to create training programs and curriculums that support the industry well. And so that's going to be my biggest challenge, is to create curriculums online and in person that aren't shallow in nature, that are really taking a deep dive. And I know that's going to take us a lot of time. That's why I have partners that are working on this together, as we're going to continue to perfect it and enlarge it and increase it. We want to have some online courses that are available to someone maybe getting in, and then have basically like different tiers and levels to learn. Hey man, I want to learn metallics. Well, let's first learn surface profile. Well, right out the gate, you're dealing with moisture. You're dealing with softness, hardness, shot blasting, grinding, scarifying, leveling. Like right out the gate, you're dealing with the whole industrial side of our industry before you even get into epoxy, if you really want to learn it right. Now, it's one thing to do a garage floor company on new construction and new developments all over America and some of these suburbia places. And, that's a small facet of our over the entire industry of decorative concrete and concrete coatings, which there's so much to it. So I know I went down some more rabbit trails. I'm just sharing my thoughts, man.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, as far as bringing value, our goal with Advanced Resins, like with FloorRescue, it's an install company in Dallas. Obviously, I travel and do installs, and I want my install company to partner with other companies in helping them grow in their areas, however we can help do that. Advanced Resins is about products and materials, training and support. And so I'm not the sole owner of that company. I'm one partner of many. There's 5 of us. And because there's 5 of us, it's so that we can increase our chances of bringing value into the industry. We've got California, me in Texas, and Chris in Florida, Paul and Cali. But our goal ultimately is to bridge the disconnect we feel. And I hate to I'm not trying to make manufacturers look like the bad guy, because they're not. It's just that, this happens in business where there's just naturally these gaps between, products and installations. And, there needs to be more support, more training, and more connection with guys being able to learn quicker the right way to do things, so that there's less failures and more education. Because from an installer standpoint, when I started in 2004, there wasn't as many resources. And, learning lessons the way I had to learn them can be avoided today through education and through the right kind of curriculum or training. And so we want to bring a platform that does that online. So that's what we hope to do. You may see us here in the near future. We're going to start doing some coaching, some lives on Instagram. We're going to do some Zooms. We're going to have a podcast. We're going to go to Facebook Live. I'm not sure if we're going to do to the Advanced Metallic Support Group, because really we created that group to kind of the support group, guys going through metallics or interested in metallics training. It's all kinds of different people on there, and you got people, talking about a lot of different stuff, and it's not always about the thing that you wanted it to be about. So we may change up how we approach that, just because we don't want to waste anyone's time or our own. And that's kind of why I think a lot of installers shy away from trying to do the coaching training thing, because it can become a real time suckage, and that's the one thing we don't have as installers is to waste time. It's hard enough getting your team to be efficient in everything that we're juggling. I mean, we're juggling chemical processes, machine processes, mechanical processes on a construction site with a bunch of other trades. Like, it is a full-time job times 5. It really is, man. The more you get into this thing, and a lot of curveballs, man, a lot of hidden pitfalls in our approaches, man. A lot of bases you got to cover. But anyway, I don't know, man. I think that's kind of it as far as the value we hope to bring, man. We hope to bring inspiration, information that coaches and trains, and just product knowledge, man. Support. That's what we're seeking to create with Advanced Resins.
Awesome. Is there a certain way that somebody wants to reach out, like, and just contact you guys, or what's the best way to do that? I know you got a lot of things kind of in the works and whatnot, but is there a good way to do that?
Well, the Advanced Resins website, we've just got a little, regular, that's not our formal website up right now. And so we are currently building out the new one with all of our PDFs and brochures so that all the data sheets are good, spread rates, mixing, applications, all that pertinent install information, those parameters, because we're making a lot of different products for different performances, for different situations. But to answer your question, obviously you can reach me on social media. I answer every platform I'm on, whether it be FloorRescue or me personally, Jeremy Redig on Facebook. I answer, I also answer Advanced Resins. I'm not the only one that answers that, but I answer it mostly. You can always email me through FloorRescue, Jeremy at FloorRescue.com, Jeremy at AdvancedResins.com. So I've got both of those companies going. So I mean, man, that's a lot. I'm not hard to find. I'm not hard to get a hold of. I've made it where it's really easy. My cell phone's even kind of out there a little bit. I try not to put it out there too much. But man, the best thing really is to shoot me a text or send me a message.
Yeah.
If you call me out the blue, I'm gonna send you an automatic message that says, "Are you trying to reach me about a project or training?" So just know I'm gonna do that out the gate, because I'm not trying to waste your time or mine. But I do want to make time for guys who are interested in, and I'll even help guys if I'll help you as much as I can. And obviously my time is limited, and I can't always get to people. I used to answer a lot of people's questions a lot about products and stuff online. I stopped doing that as much because they'd be asking me a lot about a lot of other products, about a lot of other companies and manufacturers. And I don't mind helping guys. I'll still do it to a certain point with what I'm comfortable with. But I'm trying to encourage people to go to the manufacturer and talk to their salespeople, because they're on their payroll. You know what I mean? And I'm not. So I'm not, necessarily promoting other companies or anything at this point. I will promote. I will not give a biased opinion, though. I will promote quality processes, and I won't downgrade a manufacturer material if I've had success with it. I won't do that. I'll tell you my experience. I'll be truthful with you. And I won't try to talk you out of someone else's product so you can use mine. I won't do that. I don't need you. I don't need to sell anybody my product. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not desperate for someone to buy my material. Okay. We just thought that it was wise, and we thought it was very unique and really cool that it wasn't my goal. It wasn't my idea to start Advanced Resins. Let me just say that. My desire was to coach and train in the industry. That's it. And after me and Chris came together after World of Concrete, we both wanted to train and teach guys metallics. That's always been a passion of mine. Metallics, polished concrete, metallics are my two favorite, floors. And I love staining and scoring and all that stuff and overlays, but those are my two, just because they're so very unique and in their own respect. But Advanced Resins was an afterthought, y'all. So we just, because we were using bulletproof resins at our training. The team at Megan's was super gracious toward us. Cobal's been super gracious toward us. We've worked with Surf Coat. We've worked with a lot of other brands out there. I could speak on other brands, and Navilli, the Spikes have been gracious to us. True Work has been gracious to us as brand ambassadors for FloorRescue. On social media, I rep their gear, man. They have the freaking best work gear I've seen. Rock Rooster, boots. Like, seriously, I'm not trying to give all these plugs, but that's the reality of it. Those were results of us trying to coach and train and do good content online. They started seeing that because they saw that, hey, man, this guy's trying to do something, and obviously they want to promote their stuff too. I get it. It's not because they like me and I'm such a great guy. I mean, maybe that has part of it, but the truth is they want to promote, their brands. And so we want to partner with brands that we believe in, that add value to the industry. And that's kind of the thing, at the end of the day, man, different companies are trying to do different things and bring value to the industry. And you got to choose a brand. You're going to choose a product. You're not going to choose some no-name brand and no-name product out there because, the brands that are the most established and have the greatest backbone and support are going to help you through the things you need help with. And so that's what I'm after, man. If someone bails on me when I need help, I've got a problem with that as an installer, man. Now if I did something wrong and I need to own that and be accountable for that and eat that, then yeah, I need to do that. If the failure was on the product side for some reason or some unforeseen thing that the installer didn't do anything wrong, I believe there needs to be an extreme amount of support in those situations, me personally. And so I'm going to do everything in my power from the advanced resin side of things to do that for installers that are in our community, man. That's just the bottom line. That's just how we're wired. That's our mindset. And it cannot always be all about money. It can't be, man. If it is, then at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, whatever, we're all going to be using each other up, spitting each other out. Yeah. All for what? We can gain a few bucks and then you die and leave it to somebody you probably don't even like. I mean, if you have a will, maybe you leave it to somebody you want to go to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of silly. You think about it. We get all wrapped up, man, and thinking we got to have, got to get, grab. And it's like, man, we need to be giving more. Mm-hmm. And I can be stingy. I can be greedy. I mean, absolutely. But the truth of the matter is, man, is like, we need to give more. We need to be more generous and giving with our time, with our talents, with our treasures. And the more we do that, I think we'll have more even reciprocated back to us. And if we can just keep that flow alive, man, everybody will be better off. Instead of us all, we get afraid and then we start to withdraw from a situation. We start to self-protect. And then what do? We stiff arm the guy that needs help because we're afraid of what it's going to do to us. We're afraid of how it's going to affect us. And man, I feel like we all need to break that we need to break that mindset, man. We need to break that cycle off of ourselves and each other so that, man, because I need someone else to tell me what I'm saying right now. I need to hear this when I'm struggling financially. I just got off the phone call a while ago. I got called to go fix someone else's problem. I flew someone from Florida out there because all my guys in Texas were busy, and we made it happen. He went behind my back. He never paid me a dime. I had to go send a lien. It's been 3 months. And then finally, one of the architects, he calls me today. He's like, dude, what is this thing you're sending us? I'm like, man, did you not? He didn't even know that that guy did all that, that they didn't pay me a dime. And we were out there grinding on this wavy slab that they messed up the concrete, and we were trying to make it right for him. And anyway, long story short, it's just, I don't even know where I'm going with that. I guess at the end of the day, man, try to do right by people, man. You know, we fall short, man. We mess up. You know, we maybe we don't handle a situation as well as we'd like to. We grow from it, learn from it. You know what? Apply what you learned to the next one, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and just use that to better yourself and then gain some wisdom. Because you know what? That I'm not going to go do a sample for someone in a dire situation again like that. And unfortunately, I have decided that from now on, if this is somebody I'm in business with for a long time and I have a trusting relationship with, they're going to pay me up front to go do samples. Period. And that's just my policy. I'm not telling everybody needs to do that, but because I have people that I would go do maybe 3 samples for over the next 2 weeks, and I know they're going to pay me, and I wouldn't have to worry about it one bit. But then you have those people that are just trying to work the system and work you over, and they want to use you and manipulate you. So, you know, we need to guard ourselves and protect ourselves against that as well. Anyway, I know I'm rambling, man. So
no, it's good.
I'll shut up with that.
No, it's good. I mean, this is all great advice. It's, again, this comes from years of wisdom and you walking through this whole process. And so, but I really do appreciate you taking the time just to ask these questions. I know this is going to be helpful for other installers out there up and coming, and I've been in it for a while. And I appreciate, I mean, your heart and what you're trying to do collaboration wise. And as the industry grows, like, it'd be awesome to see more and more collaborations happen. I know that eventually we want to try and land a 2,500 square footer and do a metallic with you. That'd be amazing. So, but
oh man, can't wait.
I really appreciate you. Just taking time out of your day, and
my pleasure, man. I'm glad we got to make this happen, Andrew. I know we've been trying to do this, and you know, I want to do more stuff like this. I think it's time to start giving back more. That's what I just feel that I need to do, and try to do my best to like, man, you know, and not worry about what everything looks like, how it comes back to you. Just you know, take what you have thus far in your experience, and you know, when the new guy comes on board, like, man, you know, he looks up to you to learn from you, you know, and you just keep reciprocating that, and he grows something pretty cool that way. You know, everybody can come in and not feel like, you know, I guess feel like, you know, there's basically room to grow, you know, because it does take time to learn this trade. It really does. Even if you are just doing resins and flakes and metallics, like, even just that, you need to still learn concrete. You got to learn moisture. You got to learn, you know, outgassing. You got to learn hydrostatic pressure. You got to obey the laws of, you know, science and the environment, like, you know. So I would have done well to have stuck with a few different systems, you know, back in the day. You know, I actually, you know, when I first started doing resins and epoxy, I knew I was like, man, this is a different deal. There's a whole nother level of learning that happen when messing with a coating that's sole dependence is on the bond to concrete. Its sole performance is based on that adhesion and that bond, right? Without that bond and without that adhesion, that material don't mean jack. You know?
Yeah.
The material itself could be great, But so you got to learn what causes failures and what outgassing and repairs and moisture issues, chopped up slabs, remodels, just all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I put moisture barriers on anything that's ever been chopped up, man. That's just my rule of thumb.
Yeah.
I will always put something that's going to be able to withstand more pressure or moisture coming up just out the gate. I'll prime that before I even prime the whole floor, because I've seen some different things happen early on. I had a couple different floors fail. I had an overlay fail because of that once, lifted, and then I had an epoxy floor fail when I first started doing them way back when, and I didn't understand. Wow, and it was because of cracks and because of plumbers' trenches. They didn't go back and put a vapor barrier back how it was supposed to be. But even if they do, you still need to treat it anyway. Just treat it anyway. Yeah. Double treat it. Just be on the safe side.
You sure that you're sure?
I mean, sometimes, yes. Yeah, and I mean, moisture can be tricky because, and this I've had to learn this the hard way too. There can be so much moisture coming up through a slab that a moisture barrier or an epoxy, an MBB will not solve that problem. And they have their limits too. You've seen some crazy stuff with natural springs underneath slabs, and just didn't matter what you did. It's like they gotta do a whole big deal with sump pumps. You go back with some kind of system, maybe some kind of self-leveler over an MBB system, along with something to drain out what's going on. Like you gotta, I had another one fail that just a really bad part of Texas where the movement is so bad in this part of Texas that in Home Depot, the concrete is like at a 20-degree pitch in the paint department. And they replace the concrete, like I think every couple of years they have to do it.
Wow.
And there's nothing they can do because the soil is so shifty out there. And because it shifts so much, it causes cracks and it causes issues in with moisture coming up through slabs. And that's what we had. We put a vapor barrier down, and I think all the drainage went right there to that where we did that metallic, and it freaking bubbled, man. It bubbled, and it's I mean, thankfully it didn't turn into anything legal, but we were willing to go back and do something to make it right. But it's like we were on that budget, and we actually didn't even have a budget for the MBB, and I did it anyway.
Wow.
I did it anyway, and it still failed.
Crazy.
So anyway,
crazy.
You gotta be careful, man. There's a lot of learning in this deal. Just when you think you got it all worked out and figured out, man, the more you grow and expand, you'll get into these different types of installations. They'll be out of the box. Especially when it comes to remodels, older slabs, stuff far out somewhere. You never know. So you gotta, gain support, get support. That's my main thing, man. Get around guys who are further along in the industry and learn from them if they're willing to help you. And if they're willing to help you, man, be a part of there's a lot of guys, man, on the forums and in our groups. Man, there's tons of guys on there all over the country, man. Yeah. I wish I knew some of them more personally. They probably done save me tens of thousands of dollars if we became friends. You know what I'm saying? Seriously.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Sure. It makes a difference. And if they're willing, hey, go work with them. Go choose one of those guys. If they'll let me in, I mean, as long as you're not a threat to them and there's some value, but you can't expect to get something from somebody without doing something for them. Like these guys have been at it a long time, man. You need to respect where they've been, what they've done, and what it took for them to get there. You can't just expect that information to be free.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So anyway.
Awesome.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. I really appreciate this conversation with you. I'm gonna let you go and
yeah, man.
Yeah, enjoy your time in Kentucky, right? That's where you're headed.
Yeah, we're gonna drop a metallic tomorrow with Rocket City Epoxy out of Alabama. I'm gonna go work with him on a basement floor, and then we're gonna go to Georgia and start prepping for our training on August 28th. I don't know when you're gonna air this, but we might still have a few spots available if people seeing this, reach out to us. metallicepoxyclass.com is the website for the training. So if not, we'll have California next month. We may do one in Lakeland, Florida, but we do have a spot. My business partner texted me while we was on the phone about one in California coming up, and I think either late September or early October.
Okay. And metalliceepoxyclass.com, and that'll have like all your classes upcoming, correct? They just go there and
Yeah, it's just one right now.
okay.
We have
All
one
right.
right now. We got some other listings on there for some private training that Chris and I can do for you. We're going to be updating that site a lot here in the near future, though, because I haven't got everything listed on there as far as us coming and helping you with a metallic to train, you and your team, whether that be with advanced or with another material. Like I said, we're not biased when it comes to other people's products and everything. We do want to make sure that what materials you're using for metallics, depending on the design. It is the right material, whether it be a UV stable poly or a epoxy that has some good working time and some low viscosity features to it, so that you can do your designs that you want to do for customers.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great info. And so yeah, hopefully get some people that take you up on that offer. I know they wouldn't regret it. So all right, man.
We're here to help, man.
I really appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your time and your day and drive safe. All right.
Thanks, Andrew. Sorry I was so long-winded, bro. I guess I had a lot to say, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
Trust in the rescue, man. Take care, bro. Appreciate you.
All right. Bless you. Bye.